National Poppy Day is coming up next Friday. It's a day to honor our fallen veterans.
And last year, the American Legion celebrated this day of remembrance virtually, and they plan to do so again this year. Here to explain it all to us is Mert Foos, president of the American Legion Post 17 in Lewis. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me, both of you.
Give us the story behind National Poppy Day and the significance of the red poppy.
Well, it started at the beginning in World War I. After the war, there was a lot of leftover, literally debris from war, all the materials of war, and the fields in most of the countries in Europe, particularly Belgium still today, began to grow. It was better iron in the soil to grow poppies. So the European countries started doing poppies, and then it evolved into the soldiers would see these fields of poppies, and it does for us today represent the blood that was shed on all of those fields. But for the soldiers at that point, the poppies blooming made them feel better, that there was some hope that there might be life anew again. If these battlefields could become poppy fields, then maybe the fight has been worth it all.
What a unique moment, experience that must have been at the time.
Yes, indeed.
So there's a poem that's associated.
Yes, and as we talk about the poppies, there's a poem. It's called In Flanders Field. And it was written by a Canadian medical physician. I say his name wrong every year. I apologize.
That's
Lieutenant
okay.
Colonel John McCrae was a
Okay.
physician, and he was in these battlefields, and he's the one that saw all of the war around him, but amid these flowers, and then created the poem.
And the poem, it plays a role in ceremonies, in memorial ceremonies, correct?
Yes, it really does give everyone a very, very heartfelt, kind of gripping thought of, we're all getting to an age that it's hard for people to remember World War I and World War II. So the poem has become a way for us to educate and make sure that no one ever forgets. We must never forget all that has been gone on and sacrificed in every war that we fought. But it was the beginning, first reminders of In Flanders Fields where the poppies grow.
So the American Legion Post, you really take this to heart, as well as other services you can provide, right?
Yes, the American Legion, and we're called the American Legion family. It's comprised of our veterans, who are our first points of service and contact, and then our SALs, or sons of people who have had a family member in service. And the auxiliary is spouses who have had anyone in service. So there's three subcomponents you can see from the poster behind my back there, are three emblems, but we all work together. Two important criteria: veterans who have already served and are no longer wearing a uniform day in and day out, but also today's military, any soldier in uniform still today, and their families.
How did you get involved with the American Legion?
Well, I meant to bring my picture of my dad. My dad was in the Army, and he was of the era of Pearl Harbor, so I grew up knowing about it. My husband is a Vietnam vet. And then we relocated to Lewis. I have to honestly say, I'm a nurse, so all the years that I worked, I really did not know what this community organization was all about. I now have an 11-year history in retirement to Lewis, Delaware. I found American Legion Post 17. So service and veterans, it just fit that, and that's what our whole post is all about.
So then you've experienced firsthand the benefits to the veterans and to their families.
Yes, absolutely. And I am able to put voice to that and, guide and lead and direct others. We must educate every single day, from our oldest last Friday evening, just a regular day. Our posts around the state of Delaware, and I'm currently the chair of the Veterans Affairs and Rehabilitation for the state of Delaware Auxiliary, our department auxiliary, as we say. And so across the state, I'm the Lincoln liaison to all the veterans organizations and to the community when the veterans need something. If they can't find it, then they call me and I reach to the next one. So I'm a connector, as are all auxiliary members, all cell members, you know, whatever the need is for veterans or military. The COVID certainly slowed us down a lot these last 18 months, but we're waking back up, and our phone did not stop ringing. We just had to provide those services in very different ways.
Right.
Well, I tell you what, it's fascinating what you do and your dedication to the American Legion. And we're going to take a little break, but we're going to come back and we're going to talk about an event you have coming up for Poppy Day. That's just ahead. Stay with us.
Thank you.
We are back with the president of the American Legion Post 17 in Lewis. This is Mert Fuss. Ms. Fuss, thank you so much for hanging out with us again.
Thank you again. Glad to be here.
Now, National Poppy Day, we've been talking about that. You explained to us about the poem In Flanders Field. This is a huge endeavor for the American Legion Post in the entire Poppy program. What is there that we can do to help? How can we support the program?
First and foremost, and now I'm going to put my can up here real close so everybody can see it. Most of the American Legions around the state of, in the whole Delmarva region, this is not just one unique post. This is very prevalent in European countries and in America since the 1920s. A lady developed the poppy. Originally, she crafted it as a way, and it was a woman in England, crafted the original poppy as a way to help the soldiers do something with their hands, almost like a physical therapy. So these are always made by veterans soldiers, and they knew that they were remembering in memoriam, as it says. But across the state and the region, going on the whole month of May, but predominantly Memorial Day weekend, the Friday before Memorial Day every year is now a nationally declared National Poppy Day. So you look for a can, a poppy is given. It's for you to wear. The poppy says that you remember and you will never forget the sacrifices of all. And then into the can or into someone's hand, you place a donation. So all the funds raised from poppies everywhere in every organization are used to help veterans, their needs. Here in Delaware, proudly, there is a veterans home. There is a Home of the Brave for homeless transitioning veterans, both men and women. And then in all our nursing facilities, and even our younger veterans today, you can imagine with these many years of war, we help, we send money even over to DC when they're in rehab at Walter Reed or Fort Belvoir. So when a need arises, these funds are quickly distributed and make differences every single day, every single year.
Yeah, because it's not just the veterans, it's their families in need as well.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, it is the families, and it's also active military. And, you know, for the young people today, I'm very familiar with our Delaware National Guard and all of our branches of service. Their deployments have been multiple. So when they're not here, their families still, their kids still need school supplies. Their wives need extra support. Husbands left alone need extra support. So dollars can be used through these poppy funds for all of those services. It's not just the elderly veteran in a wheelchair, but it's today's veterans that are going through incredible rehabilitation and recovery from injuries received while they've been in service.
So to also support the living. No, do we understand that you're encouraging everyone to safely light a candle for Memorial Day?
Yes. Each year, and again, because COVID kind of asked us to do things differently last year because we all couldn't come together. We're still on the cusp of it. We used to have a Memorial Day parade. We used to, you know, have a big service, and because the timing, and as everyone knows, it changes daily. But we decided that these customs are still, or this tradition we started last year is still a point that we want to continue. And the other thing that we're doing here in Lewis, but many American Legions across the region, they create a poppy field, or they do put crosses up. Most people, when you see white crosses, you'll see them. So at the entrance into Lewis and at our own Post 17, we will be creating, if you will, poppy cemeteries. And we're asking people to come by, put hand over heart for a moment and say thank you for your service. We're now we thought of it again yesterday. We're going to ask people if they want to put the name of their veteran that they wish to be remembered. They can put it on a little card and put that into our poppy field.
Yes.
With a poppy. We're hand making ones that are going to stick into the ground. So you're going to add your little name tag to that. And we want people to remember that Memorial Day, it's a great opening of the summer for sure, but it's also the day we're supposed to put hand over heart, look to our American flag and say thank you for your service.
It's about more than the hot dogs and hamburgers
Yes.
we plan to eat.
Yes.
Mert Foos.
We are allowed to have hot dogs and hamburgers on this weekend day because of all the soldiers that have
Exactly.
served and that are serving.
Because of what they gave. Mert Foos, president of American Legion Post 17 in Lewis, thank you so much for talking to us this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you for helping us make everybody remember.
You betcha. Take care.